And welcome to another edition of Judgment Day with me, Matt Rebar, and joined by Logan Molnar. The jury is short. One of our regular panel members, Raina Buto, she is in Wisconsin, what are the letters? Is it W-I or is it W-A? You know how every state has their letters?
W-I. W-A is Washington.
Oh, look at you with your letters, girl. You were the geography queen bee.
Thank you. I know letters.
Thank you. Letters are important to me. Anywho, or should I say any boo, it's a Halloween episode. And Logan, what Am I the Asshole thread are we tackling today?
All right. Am I the asshole for insisting that my husband wear a costume to a Halloween party?
Ooh, I'm going to say this husband is the asshole already. Like, it's a Halloween party. You can't give a little bit. Just because, like, I think people hear the word costume and think it has to be elaborate. You're telling me you can't, like, dress in pink and put a sandal on your head and be a piece of gum on a shoe? Or you can't, like, I don't know, like, wear a suit and tie and go as one of the guys in the Men in Black or something. Like, there's costumes that require a little effort. But let's hear the story. Let's hear it out, girl. Share the details.
It's like you read this already. You are, like, right there. Here we go. My husband, 37, is not from the U.S. I, 35, am. I get that Halloween is really an American thing and that it seems weird to him. We don't live in the U.S., and when we're not there, we totally ignore it. But we'll be visiting my family in late October, and my sister, 38, whom we don't see very often, is planning a small Halloween party. Friends and family at her home, not some big event. My husband isn't really into parties, which I respect. He doesn't have social anxiety or anything. He just doesn't really like parties. He doesn't mind attending my sister's party with me, especially since he understands that it would be impolite or hurtful to her if we didn't, but it's definitely not something that he's looking forward to. When I told him, however, that he'd have to wear some kind of costume, he said he really doesn't want to, that the idea makes him really uncomfortable. But I honestly think it would be rude to show up to a Halloween party without even attempting to wear a costume. I told him it doesn't have to be complicated or even conspicuous. He can wear a suit and tie and say he's a lawyer or something. He just has to... Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh man, you are right there.
Oh, my God.
He just has to make enough of an effort so that my sister and the other guests don't feel like he's snubbing them. Mm-hmm. Husband and sister get along fine, but definitely aren't close. And while I truly don't believe that my sister does think that he's a pretentious snob, I do think that the potential is there for such a thought to develop, and that he's refusing to dressing up for Halloween would push things significantly in that direction. So he's already kind of snobbish and, Mm-hmm. Normally, if someone says that that something makes them really uncomfortable, I would honor that, period. But in this case, I really don't think it will kill him to wear some half-assed outfit, whereas I know it'll hurt my sister's feelings if he doesn't make any effort at all.
This is tough. I think it's tough because at the end of the day, like, I think of myself as both him and I think of myself as like the wife and as the person hosting the party. Back in college, I used to host insane theme parties, and I'm actually trying to plan for one for February for a very important milestone. And do some guests, you're obviously invited. Don't you worry, Logan.
Thank you.
As if I wouldn't invite you. But no, seriously. And as someone who loves a good theme party, I get that they're not for everybody, but like, if you're going to come to a theme party, like, I kind of want you to play into it a little bit. It's really awkward when 30 people are at my house for a theme party and one person decided to not play into it at all. Like, it's just weird. Like, I get like not wanting to dress up, but like, she made some great points. There are ways for him to have a quote costume that don't have to be overboard or too much. And I think for him to make this an issue, it's a little like tantrumy. It's a little like young child trying to get their way. And yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, do you tell him to stay home? Here's, I guess, a question that maybe you could bounce for me, Logan. Does he stay home and not go, or does he go without a costume?
See, I mean, she mentions that her sister and her husband are not necessarily close. I feel like if they're visiting the U.S., they don't live in the U.S., so if they're visiting the U.S. and he does not show up to this party, I feel like that's just totally disrespectful. It's showing, hey, my feelings matter more than yours. And, so... It's hard, but it's also like, he's not from the United States, so I get that he thinks it's a little silly. But I mean, if you travel to other countries, don't you try to understand their culture and, respect it and do whatever you can for that? I mean, I get that Halloween isn't necessarily like American culture per se, but still, I think it's respectful to try and do what Americans would do. And, I think that he should wear a costume. That's where I would be.
I mean, part of it too, it's not necessarily the concept of, okay, you have to wear this, you can't wear that. It's just more of like, I am your wife, I am your husband, I am your partner who you have married to, and you can't do this favor for me. It's not like she's asking, hey, we're going to go as one of those like Chinese dragons that like you have to like, get 15 people under and move, it's not like she's saying, let's do a couple's costume where like you're a cow and I'm a farm girl and you're going to have to be in a cow costume all night. Those are big asks.
She's saying you can wear anything you want. Anything. Mm-hmm. Just like not a regular t-shirt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He could even wear what's it called? Like a flannel and be like Tommy Bahama or something.
Oh, there you look at you, creative.
Margaritaville guy. What's his name? Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. I have a lot of trauma for me because I worked at Margaritaville for a hot minute. And
Did you?
Oof, but that is a story for another podcast. That is a judgment that I have on Margaritaville. But I think to me that's the biggest thing here is like your wife is asking you to do a small favor and you can come through for her. I mean, the whole foundation of a relationship is that you're there for each other, and she needs him to be there in this small way. Wear a costume, doesn't have to be any costume. It could be whatever you're comfortable with. Just be comfortable with something, and for him to just be like, no, that's just not partnership. That's not compromise. And I'd be upset if I was in her position too. Like, you can't do the bare minimum for me. Like, why am I here? Why am I in this marriage? I mean, I've probably broken up with people for less. Like,
same.
Technically I've only been in one relationship, but I've definitely stopped talking to people for less. You know what I mean? Like, okay, dude, like, bye, so yeah, I had to say not the asshole. I don't know about you.
I would also go, I think, not the asshole. I think the sister would have a right to be upset if he didn't show up in a costume or didn't show up at all. So I think it's fair for her to, expect this. Yeah. The thread does not agree with us.
Really?
The thread says asshole.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And why? What's the logic there?
You're the asshole. He's already attending a party with you that he doesn't feel comfortable or want to go to. Stop making him feel more uncomfortable than he probably already is. You're the asshole. Small Halloween party, not some big event. My husband really isn't into parties. Like they're quoting that. This seems pretty chill, and you already are forcing your husband to be there. And the potential consequences are that there might be people there that think he's snubbing them. So as a wife, you go to bat for him and protect your husband. So people are saying
these are fair. I just think that there's not like enough of a reason. Like if he was like, I have bad memories associated, I have trauma, I have like, these are my issues. It just sounds like he just doesn't care.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
He's not American, so he didn't grow up with Halloween. So it's like not something that, he's done usually.
Yeah.
So I think
no offense too, though. Like if we were to like move to Ireland, wouldn't we want to engage with like Irish customs? When we move to Japan, we'd want to engage with Japanese customs. I think for me,
exactly,
like the law, like this is like a court case. Oh my God. Like the people versus guy who didn't want to go to the Halloween party and wear a costume. Your wife's asking you, okay, come to the party, just dressed up. I don't think those are big asks. I don't think it's enough for him to be like so staunchly opposed. But you know what? I will say this thread has a huge history of like, you do what you want to do. So I can see why they said that she's the asshole for this. But I think for the sanctity of like what marriage and partnership is, she's not. I think she's really asking for a little bit. I would like to know more context. I think I definitely would like to know what's he exactly saying, etc. And I think they did make a good point though. If he goes and doesn't wear a costume, she should stand up for him and be like, he's not a big costume person.
Yeah.
So what?
That makes sense. There is another top comment that says not the asshole. I can understand where you're both coming from. If he's not used to Halloween, it might seem embarrassing to don a costume and go out in public. You may want to point out that no costume is more conspicuous at a costume party than he thinks it is. So basically, everyone's going to be in costume, Like he might think it's, I feel weird in this costume, but everyone's going to look silly, So if he's really not into parties and nervous about going anyways, if he's the only one not in a costume, he's gonna stick out even more.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a rough one, isn't it? Oh,
That is one.
my goodness. Well, thank you for another episode of Judgment Day, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Judgment Day is a podcast by Starbolt Studios. Judgment Day is executively produced by Matt Rebar, Logan Molnar, and Raina Butel. For more awesome content, just go to starboltstudios.com or on their Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter page.